Hello and good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Let's catch up leaders, okay? Let's catch up the leaders as well as the listeners. I will teach you to be rich. How do we define the word rich in a world that seems to be filled with so many false prophets these days?
Well, when we think about rich, many of us have this old Richie Rich view of money. That rich means you've got to wear a mink coat and be driven around by a chauffeur and eat at one of those long tables. That is not rich. That's just what the movies told us. Rich can be buying a $1,000 coat, sure. Rich can also be treating your family to dinner once a month, taking them out to a beautiful place. Rich can be as simple as picking your children up from school every afternoon. You define what it is. Rich is your choice, nobody else's.
And that's exactly what I picked up on the very second that this became a part of my studies and stuff like that, is that, okay, let's set the listener up. Let's let them understand that, this isn't, I'm going to go buy a football team for $2 billion. And I'm so glad that you're so transparent with this.
I think it's important. I also think that we love to judge other people in our puritanical society.
Yep.
So think about it. We will say handbags are frivolous. Why? If you want to buy a really nice handbag and you can afford it, you should. If you want to travel to a beautiful place or travel 3 times a year to a national park, you should. What's the purpose of money? So many of us have no idea what the purpose is. I'll ask people, why are you saving money? And they just look at me. You're supposed to. I go, for what? They have no idea.
Yeah.
The purpose of a rich life is not to save money. It is to use money to live a rich life.
So true, so true, and that's one of the reasons why I bought an RV, was because you can have an RV, but unless you go out there and get the experience, then where's the richness in all of that? And I love that. I love your point of direction. But we live in this recession though, where we're now, or have they officially declared it a recession? But we live in this time period where money is so short on us, but yet we're still spending like wild people. How does this give?
Because most of us don't have a vision of money. So we have this weird duality where we wake up in the morning and we feel guilty about money.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I have to save. I should wait till I'm 90 years old and I should borrow it away because I don't know if I'm going to have enough. And then we turn on our phones, we go to Instagram, we see our high school friend in Bora Bora on a Wednesday, and we go, how does that guy do it?
Yep.
What the hell? And so guess which one wins? The spending. Now, I don't mind spending. I actually want people to spend more on the things they love. But if you have no vision of what a rich life is, then you end up spending on eating out and travel and your house and renovating and on and on and on. And when I ask people, what is your rich life? I want them to go into detail. I want them to spend extravagantly on those important things. And then I want to help them identify where they can cut back or even earn more. That's how you live a rich life.
Where are most people going wrong? I mean, is it because their eyes are bigger than their stomach?
Not necessarily. I think that, number one, we grew up with these stories about money, that our parents told us. But our parents didn't read books on personal finance. They were just doing what they knew. And then the next thing we do is we don't take the time to learn, and we create stories for ourselves. I'm not good at math. I'm just not good at money. I'll do that later. And finally, we start to absorb the lessons around us. We see people spending on certain things. We go, oh, I should probably spend on that. Or we make big decisions like buying a house without actually calculating how much we can afford. In many ways, we're very impulsive. We look at what's around us. We say, I want that. And then we come up with a reason to justify it. I don't mind being impulsive. Everyone is impulsive to some extent. But I do want people to add the language of money before they make these big decisions.
Yeah, because everything changed for me when I got my ATM card for the very first time way back in the 80s. Everything changed for me when Amazon came into the picture and stuff like that because it was so readily available. I got the money. I'm going to spend it on whatever I want because I get it. And I remember my wife telling me one time, she goes, you're buying a pair of Michael Jordan tennis shoes for $250 and you're putting it on a credit card. That's a $500 pair of shoes, dude. Come on, play right. You got to play smarter.
Yeah. What I would tell people who find themselves overspending is not that I'm going to come in and wag my finger at them and tell them they got to stop. You got to try harder. That never works. What I would say instead is, what's your rich life? Tell me about it. Let's really get into vivid detail. That's what people use the journal for, so they can really unapologetically decide what their rich life is. And then let's take my money and automatically put it towards those things. So if you love to eat out, fantastic. Let me show you how to use your money to eat out every week. When you do that naturally, and it's happening automatically, you're naturally going to spend less on other stuff. That's how you do it.
Yeah, it's awareness. Then is it, that's one of the key things that you're sharing with us, is that learn how to become aware of your habits.
Yeah. Be aware and take pleasure in it. You know, if you really love health and wellness, for example, you really want to buy a certain type of food, that's okay. It's totally fine. I think a lot of us feel judged and guilty for the things we love. No, I want you to openly embrace it. In fact, I even want you to create money rules for yourself. You know, this is the kind of stuff I am always going to spend on. And when you do that and you just become more confident, comfortable with yourself, then you can become more comfortable using your money to do it.
With your voice, with your skills, with your writing, are you hosting any podcasts? I mean, you've got this compassion for your listener, like a Dave Ramsey.
Wait, you think Dave Ramsey is compassionate?
Well, not all the time, but there are times you tune in and you go, but he still has that listener in mind, just like you've got your reader in mind.
Well, I did start a podcast, and I'll tell you why. When my wife and I were having challenging money discussions, I wished that I could hear how other couples talk about money. Yeah. But there's nothing out there where you can hear actual couples sharing real numbers. And so because of my audience, I have a large audience, I was able to find couples. So every week on the I Will Teach You to Be Rich podcast, I bring couples, and you can actually hear them sharing their real numbers, fighting, sometimes crying. And I'll give you a couple examples. One couple had $825,000 in debt, and they were wondering if they can even afford to have children. Another couple she was about to divorce him because he was too cheap. Their net worth, $13 million.
Wow.
So you hear couples all over the gamut talking about real financial issues. It is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
Well, and this book is an example of you taking what you know and you're sharing it. It's like, you know, speak the street, and that's exactly what you're doing. And that's why listeners need to sit down with this book with a yellow highlighter so that they can go in there and they can go to their favorite parts where they can work on different parts of their financial life.
Yeah, I want everyone to give themselves the gift of 15 minutes a week.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a quiet place in your house or your favorite coffee shop, you have your favorite drink and your pen, and you really get the chance to sketch out what your rich life is. And through a series of prompts that'll really make you think about yourself. Not make you feel guilty, but really make you think about yourself. You're going to be able to articulate what's important to you, and you're going to be able to come up with some of the stories that you may have believed for the last 30 years and get a chance to actually decide, what do I want to do for my next 30 years?
Yeah, that's so true, because, I mean, you know, look at the retirement age. You know, people were quitting their jobs immediately, like in their 50s, to retire, because they knew what they wanted to live a life of not necessarily comfort, but they wanted to live it the rest of their life, their closing years, in a place where there was less stress and anxiety.
Yeah. What a tragedy that we are taught that we have to wait until someday in the future to actually start enjoying our money. I don't agree with that at all. Right. I think you should live a rich life today and an even richer life tomorrow. And to do that, you can use some of the exercises in the journal to decide right now, what is rich to me? You know, I know somebody who said, I want to get fresh flowers delivered every week. That is meaningful to her. It shows vitality. It shows abundance. What if it's something as simple as that? Or something as simple as being able to order appetizers when you go out to eat, like in my case, because I couldn't do that when I was a kid. We can start today, and we can dream even bigger for tomorrow.
Man, the podcast and the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Dude, I want to talk to you so many more times in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
You too. Thank you.